It's often very difficult to get a politician to say yes or no to certain questions. So I just want to give you a couple of quick questions and see if you can give me a yes or no. The first one is: do you think that ex-President Álvaro Uribe will be back in power in Congress after the next elections?
I think he will not, because once he becomes a candidate, he will be exposed. He loses presidential immunity. So if he gets back himself, he might get in the top of a list that he heads, but he won't become actually a member of parliament, because in that moment he loses his immunity, and then he'll be subject to all kinds of legal demands.
And President Santos, I guess there's two questions. Will he run for re-election? I guess the answer is yes. And if he does run for re-election, will he get in? Will he be re-elected?
He'll win because he controls the state, he controls the politicians, he controls the resources, and so I think he'll win. Yes.
Well, I was going to. The final question was about a candidate on the left. I know that one of the arguments is people from within your party and from others is that the left or the centre left needs a united candidate. At the moment, the left is obviously Clara Lopez of Polo. Do you think there'll be another left-wing candidate?
I think as presidential, I think it might be, but it won't make a difference. I think maybe Navarro Wolf, who has the M19 origins, is trying to build something around that. But they had a very hard time because the peace process that is controlled by the government really has make a vacuum cleaner on the debate that they probably were trying to build. So I think they might be, with the left in Colombia, probably will be not only one, but maybe three candidates, okay? So
it often is that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fractured, and that's part of the problem, perhaps.
Yes.
The election of Alejandro Ordóñez last night as Inspector General again for the country, and the vote was held in secret. Should that change? Should the Congress? I mean, your reform talks about changing the electoral system, but there are other things that we can do in Parliament that will increase the transparency and involvement of citizens. I don't know whether you think that making those votes in public would do that.
But who will be following them? That's the big problem. You might vote. I for example, requested all kinds of public statements about how, if they were accepted, an objection to participate in the election of the procurador. And the problem is who is following each. Because they are, if you make it public, who's following what he does individually. And all the efforts we made for making accountable the senators, we have a recent participatory law implemented, and they vetoed the notion that congressmen should be accountable. And one of them said, but who am I accountable to? So you might get public, but he doesn't have whom to explain what he's doing. Okay? Who is following him? Because in the current world, postmodern world, there is so much information that the problem is how to concentrate your attention. And the only thing that concentrates your attention in a congressman is knowing that he is your representative. I receive all kinds of Twitter saying, "You are great. You are I voted for you." Yes, all that. But but it's not structurally designed. So you can do a lot of reforms, and they are trying to do, for example, it's like, I don't know, how do you say in English that the sicknesses in the sheets? How do you say that? Or the other thing is that you find your wife sleeping with some other guy in the coach, you sell the coach. Okay, it's more or less that. So that now they are producing all kinds of laws to correct that, but doesn't go to the fundamental problem, which is this new relationship between the electoral and the representative.
No, thank you very much for that. I think I think that's a very strong argument, and that's the point of your reform. And I know that Colombia Politics wishes you well in that reform. It's something that we instinctively support, improving the relationship between the voter and the electorate, and the politician, the transfer of power from the politicians to the public. I think that's something that Colombia desperately needs.
Absolutely.
And so wish you all the best with that proposal. Anything we can do to help, of course, we'd love to form part of the campaign. And thanks again very much for your time, and hopefully lots of people from the outside world looking in the US and in Europe, and also Colombians that live in the exterior, as we say here, will be interested in your work and will continue to follow your work as one of the most visible politicians here in Colombia. And it's important that we have politicians like you who are willing to speak to the public, willing to convince the public of their views and stick to their views. So thanks very much for spending your time with us.
Thank you very much for the interview, and I'm very happy to be able to talk with international English-speaking audience. Thank you very much. And it's very nice of you to say that I'm well known, because most of the time we think nobody knows us. Yes, nobody understands. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers then.
Thank you.